Hello, everybody. My name is Riaz Ladha, and I'm the VP of Enterprise Sales at NMI. I've been with NMI for a little over 6 years and oversee most of our organization's semi-integrated card-present business in North America within our ISV and value-added reseller channels. This includes our card-present deployments in unattended, parking, retail, and MPOS. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending my mini session on PCI P2PE this afternoon. I would like to start off my presentation by addressing a common situation I, as well as my colleagues, come across frequently when discussing PCI P2P. Oftentimes, we see there is a confusion on what exactly is PCI P2P. Many times, a potential partner will approach a payment solution provider and insist that their solution is a P2PE certified solution. From the partner's perspective, they have heard of P2P being an essential part of any transaction chain, but do not fully understand that there are core differences between P2PE and a validated PCI P2P solution. Most, if not all, solution providers will support a point-to-point encrypted solution. Point-to-point encryption, as most of us are aware, is an encryption standard established by the PCI Security Standards Council. It requires that payment card data be encrypted immediately upon use with the merchant's point of sale terminal and cannot be decrypted until it's securely transported and processed by the payment processor. A PCI validated P2P solution is a combination of secure devices, applications, and processes that encrypt credit card data immediately upon swipe or dip in the payment terminal. The data remains encrypted until it reaches a solution provider's secure decryption environment. In order for a P2P solution to receive validation from PCI, the solution provider and associated players in the overall P2P solution must undergo assessment and audit by a P2P qualified security assessor, better known as a QSA, before being brought in front of the PCI Council for approval. I find that it's important to highlight this fundamental difference and how it is our responsibility as professionals working in the payment space to educate our partners on this difference and what each entails in order for the customer to make an informed decision on which could ultimately save you and your customer time to market. So what exactly does a PCI P2P solution entail, and what are its key components? So a PCI point-to-point encryption solution cryptographically protects account data from the point where a merchant accepts the payment card to the secure point of decryption. By using a PCI validated P2P solution, account data is unreadable until it reaches a secure decryption environment, which makes it less valuable if the data is breached. The key components of a PCI validated P2P solution are, first, point-to-point encryption. Again, and as mentioned previously, this is the area that causes the most confusion on what a PCI validated P2P solution is. Point-to-point encryption alone does not constitute a PCI validated solution. However, it is a vital piece of a PCI validated solution. Other key components are PCI validated hardware and software. In addition to that, a solution provider's environment and processes must also be validated. And of course, validation is done by a PCI qualified P2P assessor, as mentioned previously. And the PCI Standards Security Council frequently publishes a list of all of the validated and approved P2P solutions on the market. The PCI SSC also produces lists of approved P2P applications and components. These applications and components may be used as parts of a validated PCI P2P solution. If your business is using only a single P2PE application or a single P2PE component listed by the PCI SSC, that does not necessarily mean you have a validated P2P solution. Now, why should your business implement a PCI P2P validated solution? For one, it lowers the risk of payment card data loss. Data is encrypted at the point of capture and cannot be decrypted in your environment. It also reduces the extent of your PCI DSS assessment scope. You can consider any connected point of sale system and your network, as well as other components and devices sharing your network, and they will be out of scope. It also simplifies PCI DSS compliance, meaning fewer applicable PCI DSS requirements. simplified compliance assessments, and a potential reduction in the cost of maintaining compliance. If we look at the parking industry in particular, car park networks are widely distributed, and being unattended makes them more susceptible to fraudulent activity. This applies more so to older pay stations with a less sophisticated network architecture, especially those that are still processing magstripe transactions. PCI P2PE can dramatically simplify compliance in these situations, as well as offering an upgrade to the latest EMV technology. Lastly, there are also several card brand programs that a business can utilize when you have a PCI validated solution. Without getting into too much detail, just give a couple of examples. For example, Visa has their Technology Innovation Program, better known as TIP, as well as their Visa Secure Acceptance Program, both of which can provide incentives to the business for implementing a PCI validated solution. So here we look at how to implement a PCI P2PE validated solution. In order for a P2P solution to receive validation from PCI, the solution provider, and the associated players in the overall P2P solution must undergo assessment and audit by a P2P qualified security assessor, or again, a QSA, before being brought to PCI Council for approval. Essentially, every piece of the transaction chain must be carefully validated to ensure it meets the stringent guidelines outlined by PCI standards. These guidelines can be found in the PCI instruction manual known as a PIM, which is issued by the solutions provider. At a bird's eye view, this includes an audit of the payment solution provider you are working with, a strict chain of custody protocol for payment devices starting from the manufacturer to the distributor, to the installer, and finally to the commissioning. And again, the solution needs approval by the PCI Council for final approval before the solution can get to market. As you can see, there are several pieces to the PCI P2PE implementation puzzle, which takes me to my next slide on the importance of choosing the right payment solution partner when considering PCI P2PE. Payment solution providers are a critical piece in the equation when considering a PCI validated solution. Much of the work involved, as well as the guidance that many companies will require, come from the solutions provider. The solution provider will also be responsible for certifying specific devices for the validated solution. At NMI, for example, we work extensively with the Globalcom BV1000, as well as their distributors, current components who provide our customers with a PCI validated unattended solution. We also work with Ingenico iSelf series as well as the Ingenico IUC 285 to round off our PCI P2P offering for unattended deployments. When selecting a solution provider, it's vital that the company not only supports the device or devices you're looking to go to market with, but also a provider who can assist you in navigating the often complex segment of this often complex segment of the payments industry. Having a solutions partner who can go above and beyond in providing the technology and P2P, go above and beyond on providing technology in just a manual or a PIM, and actually assist you in the implementation will most certainly mitigate a lot of the headaches and confusion surrounding PCI P2P and the many nuances associated with the validated solution. Again, I would like to thank everyone for attending this presentation, and I encourage anyone to reach out to me should you have any questions on the subject. I'll open the floor to any questions. However, for the purpose of keeping within our allotted time, any questions that require in-depth detail will be taken offline. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's see if we had any questions. So for the audience on the right side, feel free to ask any questions if you have any. Sometimes presentations are so clear that there are no questions left in the end, so that might be the case as well. So you see the contact details as well on the screen right now. So if you have any questions or if anything pops up, feel free to contact Riaz directly. Any questions from everyone? Come on, we have a full room of people and no questions. It looks like you did a great job.
Thank you. And again, if anyone has any questions or would like to reach out so we could discuss this offline, more than happy to discuss.
For sure. So we do have a couple of minutes left. So maybe in the meantime, if somebody has a question, please feel free to ask it. Is it possible for you to share with us a little success story?
Sure. I mean, there are several customers that, PCI P2PE, especially in North America, is something something that that hasn't been really explored or it hasn't really evolved. This is something relatively new to most solution providers. However, I would say a success story is our relationship with Current Components and certifying the Globalcom BV1000 for as a fully certified solution that's ready to go to market for our customers. This certification took us quite some time and effort working with Current Components and the Globalcom device. There was a large learning process involved, and I'm happy to say that today we have several customers that we will be going live with in the coming months using the Globalcom. And actually a couple that have already gone live using our PCI P2PE solution.
All right, and what has been the general response to that?
I mean, it's been good. PCI P2P is generally not for everybody. A small retailer or a parking operator wouldn't necessarily want PCI P2P. However, if you want the highest standard of security that's available in our market, this is the way to go. And this is something that anyone should explore, especially someone that's a tier 2, tier 1 retailer, parking operator. Even tier 3s could go down this route. So it's something everyone should explore, especially in this post-COVID era where things are going contactless, and everyone is looking for contactless solutions, which means machines are going to be left alone, which means we're going to have to deploy the highest level of security that we possibly can to secure our infrastructure.
Sure. And if we look into the future, is it possible for you to share a glimpse into that? Where do you see NMI in the US in 3 to 4 years?
Absolutely. So we're doubling down on our initial bet that we're going contactless on everything. One thing that we found at NMI, especially during this time during the pandemic, is that a lot of retailers are making plans for, hey, what are we going to do if this happens again? What if there's a lockdown in a couple months, a couple of years? So every business is going to have a pandemic plan that's going to have to be implemented. In the payments business, this entails contactless, this entails PCI P2PE, and many other features that we support at Credit Call and NMI.
Great. Thanks so much. It's time for Flash Parking's presentation. So I'm going to thank you so much for being here today, and feel free to join the other sessions as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.